stuff here, but let me contextualize some of what I just mentioned. So let's take a look at Midland, just because it's top of mind, one that we were just looking at. So this initial page load time is essentially the time that we're trying to optimize for. This is the pre-population of the site before it's ever displayed to the visitor. So 217 milliseconds is actually on the quicker side of what I typically see. I usually see Shopify brands, e-commerce brands of whatever medium between 250 to 600 milliseconds. But I'd be curious to see, as I navigate through the site, where we begin to see jumps or decreases in this initial page load time. 522nd, 27 milliseconds again, very average. And as you move deeper down the the journey or the funnel of the website, this is where I would see the site jump up a little bit in speed and then go right and hit the industry average at about 343 milliseconds when you get onto a product page. Now, if we compare that to a Nostra site that I have pulled up here, right? Here, again, to have some quantifiable metrics as to what an edge delivery metric engine can help optimize. So this is a query parameter that allows me to test any website against the control if it is on an edge network. So this site utilizes Nostra. This is having Nostra turned off. They're at about 335 milliseconds on a collections page. And then if I come back to the home page, we'll see what they load in at about 346 milliseconds. So again, pretty typical of what I see, 340, 330 milliseconds. The actual numerical quantifiable benefit of having the website essentially fully cached with we cache the HTML, the JavaScript, the CSS, the images, and then being pre-built on the edge, is that instead of me, the visitor, having to go all the way back to that Shopify server in Iowa and then have it display to me in 350 milliseconds, here you can see that the homepage displays in 44 milliseconds. I'll come in and look at bestsellers, 53 milliseconds, go to a product page, 51 milliseconds, 44. So again, this is a good one of what Nostra's websites to test, because Wyatt mentions that 2.73% increase. Now, that statistical significance is through Nostra's entire ecosystem. But here's a pretty good example of shaving off from 346 to 44, essentially representing that 3% increase. So another site speed aspect that I like to think about is, again, if you weren't here in the first 2 minutes of the call, I mentioned performance score, optimizing always for that cracked iPhone 7 user. And here we can see that this same brand, Midland, is at about a 25 in relation to performance, right? And some of the roadblocks here in getting the site quicker are related to total blocking time and largest contentful paints of about 12 seconds. And I was describing it earlier that, this isn't necessarily a good indication of the customer experience, but by the Googles and the Metas of the world kind of allocating or deriving these scores just from Google bots clicking through websites, they are seeing things like unused JavaScript and eliminating render blocking resources as opportunities to make the site quicker. Now, again, just as a quick comparison, because I've gone through 4 or 5 or 6 sites already. Just to touch quickly on how an edge delivery network has an effect on this. This is a site that uses an edge delivery network with it turned off. Again, just like I described with Yopoda, they were at a 34. So similar to Midland, this is kind of, industry standard. I see 15 to 35 every day, all day. And some of the areas that this edge delivery network can have a positive effect on are eliminating blocking time and having these Google bots see a static version of the site. So within 5 days of turning that network on and having it run in between Shopify and the end visitor, we saw their performance score jump about 50 points. And this is very typical. 0 milliseconds in blocking time. And boy, these Google bots are having a hard time trying to find any opportunities to make that site quicker. So on one side of the coin, we have the ability to get this number down 300 or 400 milliseconds, which boosts conversion rate by 5%, boosts revenue by 3%. And on the other side, right, when we're thinking about driving traffic to the site, not only do we not want them to bounce due to page load time, because food for thought, when you get this number down to 40 milliseconds, the entire page loads in 40% quicker, right? And when 90% of people bounce when it takes more than 3 seconds for a page to load, you're losing a lot of people at this speed compared to this one. And what this then has an effect on in performance and Lighthouse is lowering cost per click, boosting global page ranking. Google will drive more folks to your site and have a more profound effect. I'll really quickly take a look at Hot Chocolate Design, 247 milliseconds, just because I have it pulled up here. Go to a product page, 498. And then let me come back to the home page and go to another 205. So some areas for improvement, but here on this performance score, again, an area where, eliminating that blocking time and putting another Lighthouse performance metric into the 80s or 90s is really nothing but beneficial. So I'll stop there. I hope I didn't go on too long, but thanks for listening, everyone. Appreciate it.